12th edition, chapter 17, problem 35. It's a very interesting problem. Remember that, and it goes back to the concept that a city government has two choices, and both are GAAP, to account for the infrastructure assets. The first possibility is that they capitalize them, like we are used to, and they depreciate them. But there's also a modified approach that they can simply account for if they do several things. They make sure that there's a certain level of maintenance always insured. They're not insured with an insurance company, but they make sure that they're monitoring the assets for a certain level of soundness. And in this particular case, it's a goal of 97% will be working at any one time. If that happens, they can simply record as expenditures the subsequent amount that they spent. So we're on page 804, problem 35. A city government adds street lights within its boundaries, total cost of $300,000. They should burn at least 10 years, so that's their useful life, but they could last significantly longer if they're maintained properly. So they set up a system to monitor the lights to make sure that 97% will be working at any one point in time. So they are eligible to use the modified approach. During the year, the company spends $48,000 to clean and repair the lights. That's regular maintenance. That would be an expenditure in the fund financial and an expense in the government-wide, so that they're working according to the specified conditions. But they spend another $78,000 to construct lights for several new streets in the city. So we're doing the journal entries under both approaches. We're not doing the journal entries for the fund financial statements. Whatever they spend is just a debit to expenditure and a credit to cash and the fund financial statements. But for the government-wide financial statements, the first possibility is they capitalize the infrastructure assets. So that would be a debit to infrastructure assets, and then they name it, street lighting, street lights, and a credit to cash of $300,000, just like you would do in a for-profit business. Subsequently, they would actually do a depreciation expense and an accumulated depreciation. 300,000 divided by 10 years, $30,000 each year at the end of the year. And then when they do the maintenance, debit maintenance expense. This is just to clean, replace light bulbs, and credit to cash. And then that $78,000, they don't indicate that they have to capitalize them, but if it extends the life of the assets, this could be capitalized. We're assuming that it's just general maintenance. But the last one is the same thing, debit infrastructure assets. For the $78,000, we're capitalizing them and in credit to cash. And we would depreciate those as well. But the second possibility is simply, yes, the original is debited to infrastructure assets of $300,000 with cash. But we would not do the depreciation expense. We would simply do, as we spend money, debit maintenance expense. That actually, we don't have anything related to that. This would be the same. Debit maintenance expense, credit to cash for the $48,000, and probably do the infrastructure assets, $78,000 again here in cash. So the difference is we simply don't do a depreciation expense. We will probably, because we're doing this modified approach and we're keeping 97% working all the time, we'll probably have a higher amount of maintenance expense, not necessarily, but probably so. And so next year, perhaps the maintenance expense would be more than it would have been had we capitalized them. That is the answer to problem 35.